Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, we welcome you to the Big Biz Show. We're live from the Loft 100 studios in Southern California. And as we like to say around these here parts,
big old howdy to ya.
Oh man, that's the Day Trader Quattro in unison, singing beautifully like always.
I love that you guys.
Back here at the Bards.
Can we hear a little something? Because that's 40% of Sullivan, the man.
It is. And Sully.
Good to see you. I want to get right to Howie Font in New York City, who's our punctropreneur, smartest guy in the room. Because
Sounds like he's in trouble.
no, he's on trouble.
Oh, okay.
Howie's never in trouble. If anybody's in trouble, we're in trouble with Howie. I mean, he's been the adult in the room ever since we've met him. Let's face it.
True.
Howie, I got to talk about the fact we got some good news in terms of the housing stuff and home sales and stuff, but. There's a confluence of investing and home ownership now. And I always say there's only two ways to get rich in this country. You have to own real estate or you have to own a business. And owning a share of Apple stock is like owning a business, right?
Yep.
Same thing. So what's going on, man? What's happening there?
Yeah, so there's been some new data that's come out as far as flows for single-family home ownership that I thought was interesting. We've hit a 5-year peak as far as investors buying and selling new homes. So they were about 1/3 of all of the homes that sold this last quarter. That's up a lot from the beginning of the year. And these people that are selling homes are not taking their money out of the market, they're reinvesting in new homes. So it kind of speaks to the breadth of the market in a lot of ways.
So what we're talking about here, we're not talking about people buying single-family dwellings. We're talking about people buy strips of homes where they have it as an investment, not just as a place to live, correct?
Yeah, no, they're going to be rental properties for sure. And most of these investors are very small. I think they define small in this in the data that I'm reading this from as under 10 properties that you have, and then the large institutions would be something like 1,000, like the BlackRock.
This is the thing. This is interesting about this because Airbnb caused a lot of this as a catalyst about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because that is a license to steal. You can have two types there. You can be a slumlord, right, which is what Mike is. He owns additional.
Hey, the lights come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I got a guy. But honestly, if you think in terms of what they're doing, it's really controversial. If you have a strip of 10 homes being purchased in a neighborhood, well, it's not just the neighborhood. It's the availability of homes that drives home prices up.
Yep.
So single-family dwellings, families can't afford homes because what causes elasticity in the market? Just like anything else, more buying than selling will drive prices up, right? So, Howie, is there regulation coming? Because I can smell over-regulation when I hear stories like this.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it several times before. There's nothing on the docket in Congress right now, but there have been bills that have passed, not quite gotten signed by the president, but for these large institutions to have limits or extra taxes placed on them. So they're going to rent them out, but they really want just the appreciation on the home.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what drives most individual family wealth in the country. So how much of that do we want going to large institutions or even small investors? I mean, what do we think about like a renter's tax or you're taxed more unless it's your primary residence?
Like an ADU tax type of thing?
Yeah, exactly. And right now this is done at the local level, but I don't know. For the big guys, maybe they need something national.
Well, so the American, it's really interesting because if you think about going back, 10 years ago, the median price of a single-family dwelling was, well below $400,000, and it doesn't exist anymore, especially if you're living on either coast. I believe the median home price in San Diego, California. I mean, you may be watching us in New York City, you may be watching us across the country or across the world. Right here in San Diego, it's close. We're staring at over $1 million.
For a cracker box.
For a cracker box. Howie, thanks, buddy. We'll see you later. See you tomorrow.
Howie Font, market analyst, Big Biz Show. Always coming on point with the info. Speaking of that, lots more points, lots more info. As the Big Biz Show continues, keep it here.
Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks. If we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyandgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
Big Biz Show rolls on. We're live from the Loft 100 Studios here in Southern California. Of course, that is the Day Trader Quattro, the BTC, as they're known around this place. Back here at the bar, it's Costa, it's Marybird Godwin, and of course, it is Sully.
Well, I'll tell you, it's always good when we get an email or a phone call from someone who watches the program and says, you got to have these guys on the air. And
makes our job easier.
And apparently iBio is one of those companies. Martin Brenner's in the studio here. He is a CEO and Chief Scientific Officer for iBio. Ticker symbol iBio. And I see all kinds of great logos on your website, like Eli Lilly and NEID and others. Tell me what you guys are up about. What are you guys up to doing here? Because you transitioned from big pharma to this publicly traded company. And with your background, there must have been a reason for it. You must have saw something.
Absolutely. So, I'm very grateful to have spent the first 15 years of my career in research departments at four of the most prolific pharmaceutical companies, Lilly, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and Merck. And what you learn is really in depth how to develop and discover drugs. Mm-hmm. You see that at scale, which is great. But that scale also comes with some downside, and downside is specifically in the early space of target discovery, early development, early clinical development. And that's where biotech really shines. And for me, this was the alignment that you create in biotech, right? So everybody is completely dialed into the mission, right? There's no conflicts. Everybody knows what to do. You can't hide. In larger companies, obviously, there's layers of stakeholders and also things that you need to get alignment on, which takes a lot of time.
When you're dealing with what eventually is going to be large pipeline drugs, hopefully, if this thing comes to an NDA and a development, right? How do you juggle that with the current capital environment for biotech? I mean, that's been a rough one. Look at that, and frankly. As we've interviewed other guests, I think you're at the end of that era. I think things are coming back in terms of capital. But how do you navigate that when you're trying to save lives, do science, and all of a sudden somebody's got to pay for it?
Yeah, so that's a very, very intriguing question because, again, if you think about late-stage clinical development in specifically obesity, where we're focused on right now, that can be easily upwards of $300 million for one large clinical trial. A small company like us, it's impossible to stem this, right? So there's a really good place for large pharmaceutical companies that have the infrastructure to kind of do these studies, but also have obviously the financial means.
Right.
We shine in the earlier spaces for sure, because the speed that we can bring, the quality of the molecules we can deliver, that is then kind of a good starting point for pharma to pick them up at one point.
Talk about the therapies, because you have iBio 600 and iBio 610.
So I'll start with 610. So if we talk about obesity, we need to think about this is on a scale that has never been there before. There's 1 billion obese people worldwide, right? Wow. So that has massive implications for how we make these molecules. We need to manufacture this. You need to make it, right? It's not enough to make it for 10,000 people. No. So the GLP-1s really have brought in a revolution in that treatment. Obesity was not really regarded as a real disease before we actually had a treatment. Right. But they leave some spaces open for patients where they need more help, right? One is, the side effects, nausea and vomiting. The other is muscle loss, right?
Yeah.
People lose a lot of muscle on rapid weight loss. And then the last one is we still don't have a durable weight loss drug. We have nothing that actually keeps the body weight down for the rest of people's
I was
lives.
going to say, that's what people say is they go off of the GLP-1s and then they gain weight right
Exactly. And every pound and kilo you lose a third of that is muscle.
Yeah.
But if you regain that pound or kilo, what you regain is only a tenth of muscle. Right. So you weight cycle, right? And you start every single time you go back on drug or start another diet, you start with a lower muscle mass. And what this ultimately means, your risk for fractures increase dramatically.
Look at the GLP-1 thing. When you go to Saxenda or trizipatide or anything, the ones that are out there, folks didn't know what they didn't know in the beginning. What I love is that companies like yours are saying, okay, this GLP-1, this peptide's working. We're going to make it work better. Because you guys are 2.0 if you really think about it.
Do they work in conjunction with each other, or
yes,
is your
they can
standalone?
actually. It can be.
Okay.
So this is the cool thing about this, right? It can be a standalone, and it likely is not going to have the same adverse effects like a GLP-1. It's a different mechanism, right? It causes, at least in animal studies that we've done, about a 10% weight loss. Not as impressive as GLP-1s, but continuously. The second thing is it can be treated on top of GLP-1s, right? So we see a better weight reduction, at least in animal models, when you put this on top. And then the last one is, we did a study where we actually had mice lose weight, and then we rebounded them, take off of GLP-1, and the control group, so got the placebo, they regained the body weight like humans do. Yep. The ones that were on the antibody that we have basically retained that lower body weight. So this is really the promise of having something that's really durable.
Martin Brenner is the CEO, Chief Scientific Officer of iBio. Their ticker symbol is iBio. Martin, my BMI is that of a canned ham. My mom always told me, you're just big bone. Don't worry about it.
He's from a big bone tribe.
Yeah. You just tell the kids to shut up, you're big bone. How many people, though, out there don't know they're obese? Or are on that Mendoza line of either morbid obesity or, hey, you're obese?
Yeah, and is the BMI spectrum even accurate anymore?
So I think BMI is a very controversial measure right now, right?
Thank God.
Because if you look at the NFL or Major League,
but they're all
every
obese.
one of those guys has to be obese, according to that scale. I mean, big bone tribe people like Mike, although you're much smaller than you were when you went on Vivos. Right. But honestly, I mean, it's the. Look at one side could say, well, the scale's wrong. Who cares? You're doing the same scale every time. At least you can see what's going on. It doesn't matter what the number is. But when we have a universal thing called a BMI, I think it's very confusing, especially for the people again that are too busy. They're not scientists. They're just trying to feed their family, do the best they can, and they're trying to measure this mark that probably is not accurate.
The BMI is really controversial because it does not we're very diverse as human beings, right? It does not capture every human being in the right way. What we're looking at is fat mass inside the body. That is highly correlated with cardiovascular outcomes, right? We know that it's really a strong correlation. We want to reduce that, right? And again, we want to expand the health span of people towards the end of the lifespan, right? You want to live a healthy and full life all the way to the end, right? And it's not good if you don't have cardiovascular disease, but you're bedridden because you're breaking your bones.
That's exactly right. At the same time, though, when you're seeing, like I know a friend of mine who got on one of them, trizipatide or something, and he's lost weight, and suddenly now he's walking. Now he's outside, now he's doing stuff. It's almost there's this go-no-go point where the very point that you should be trying to put muscle mass on and increase your metabolism is the time that you're not. I think these things are, I'm all for it as long as people do it in an educated manner. Where are you guys in the arc of the FDA story? Because people are going to call me and email me and say, when can we get it?
So
no pressure.
I've already sent the email. So,
I think there's people lining up to get these drugs, but so we are still preclinical. We have entered for the myostatin program, the 600 program, the so-called IND enabling phase. That's the last phase before we go to the FDA or a similar agency worldwide to ask for approval to test this in humans. That should happen for this program. Just filing this IND sometime in the first half next year. Okay. For the Activin E program, this is where we can keep the body weight down. It's a little behind. We also started that process, but we're at the very beginning. So we're planning to file, at the end of 2026, which will start clinical trials likely beginning of 27.
I have to ask you because, and I want to get you back because there's so much more to talk about here. And the next time we can spend more time on it, but I'm not going to let you leave until you talk about AI, how AI is coming. How is AI coming into biotech? And I don't even understand how. Is it just because it makes it easier to research? I mean, how does AI come into this?
So this is a very good question. I think that's very important. AI has gotten a little bit of a bad reputation because there's people out there that do things and say things like, we have an AI drug, which is a silly thing in itself, right? To make a medicine takes plus minus 10,000 steps.
Okay.
We enable 3 of them with AI.
Oh.
They are really important steps. Without those, we couldn't actually do what we do, but that doesn't make them AI drugs. If we follow that logic, we would call all of the drugs we have molecular biology drugs, because that was the last revolution we had in drug discovery. So AI will change what we do, but it's not like, it takes over every single process.
Yeah.
And I want to just make this very clear. We have a few things, and our niche is really combining the AI part with the biological techniques. This deep integration is what delivers actually molecules.
I can't wait to have you back and talk more
you
about
gotta come back. There's too much info we still need to find out. Martin Brenner, CEO, Chief Scientific Officer, iBio, ticker symbol iBio. Big things are happening. I'm also big. That's okay. It's a different story. More at the Big Biz Show right after this. Big Biz Show rolls on. We are live from the Lot 100 studios here in Southern California. Where everyone is, wherever you're watching, we always appreciate you joining our show. You saw them briefly on stage, Day Trader Trio back here at the bar. It is Costa and it is Marybird Godwin. Sully had to step out for just a brief moment. Spilled a bunch of mustard on his shirt. He's changing. He'll be back shortly.
Funyun dust.
Yeah. Mustard or Funyun dust. It's always one of those. We love having this next guest in studio with us, Amber Martinez. She's a realtor, First Team Real Estate. Her website, ambermartinez.firstteam.com. Welcome back to the Big Biz Show.
Thank you for having me. I love being here.
Yeah.
Yes.
How is this time of year for not only house and property sales, whatnot, in our area, but I guess from a national 30,000 foot view? Is fall a good time to buy a house?
With the market rate dropping, people are coming back out into the market.
Okay.
So a lot of sellers like to wait until April and they think, oh, the spring's the best time.
Yeah.
With the rates coming down, it's a great time to sell right now.
I was going to say, it doesn't really depend on what time of year it is. It's
No.
all based on the rates.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, people are out in full effect.
Really? Okay.
We are seeing if your house is priced at market rate and the people see value in it, we're seeing 40 offers come in on a house right now. It's coming back to the 2022 type housing market.
Wow, and that's different from the last time even you were on. I feel
yes.
It's grown exponentially.
Absolutely. Last time I was here, everyone was like, oh, do you see it coming down? And I was like, oh, I don't know. But as a predictor of the future right now, it looks like it's going to come down maybe even one more time before the end of the year.
So when let's say we are actually thinking about getting ready to sell our house in 2026, and when you see 40 offers just come pouring in, I assume it's immediate. Like, how soon after the house is listed? Is this even before like open houses and things like that they sight unseen?
No, it's more during the open houses. Okay. Once the public finds out about it, then that's when they're out in full effect. But I definitely see them coming to look, and they are interested right now.
Now, when you have a bunch of offers like that, how long or what's all the process? Do you go through all of those offers?
You filter through every single one. You've got to contact everyone. It becomes a bidding war. Do you look at your
Instagram feed and see what kind of people they are?
Hey, I'm known to look up everything and everybody. I'm an investigator.
Yeah.
I want to know who I'm dealing with. I want to see if they're legit. There's a lot of times people will make offers and they have no idea what they're doing.
They don't have money.
Yeah, some people haven't been pre-approved yet. And then even the ones that are don't realize that they can't come in and just offer whatever they want. Their loan is going to approve them for a certain amount, and they're going to have to cover that gap of what they bid out of their own personal pocket. So that gap can be huge and taking out what their savings were.
Amber Martinez, she is our go-to for anything in the realty world, First Team Real Estate. Her website, ambermartinez.firstteam.com. When you have that many offers, is it normal then to have somewhat of which is great for the seller, a bidding war?
Yes.
It's just like
And it just starts going higher and higher, and it gets really exciting. It's like gambling. I'm addicted. I want to see how fast it can go up.
No doubt.
And then it's cool to see how they're doing it. Are there cash offers coming in? Because the cash offers, once they come, you can close in 1 week.
Yeah.
And it's fast for the sellers. So right now, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the all cash come in, and people not even worried about the rates because they're cash.
Now, I'm going to switch gears to when you're helping someone buy a home. And, one of the things on here, you were talking about helping somebody with maybe a child in a wheelchair, or also, when I bought the home I live in actually now, I didn't even have kids then. And then a lot of people, you need to think about the school district and all of that stuff. I luckily landed in a place with a great school district, but it wasn't on my radar. So do you help families kind of know those things to look at? And
absolutely.
Parents, before they're parents?
Huge. I have 4 kids. I know the school districts. It's very, very important that they live near whatever opportunity they need, especially if they have special needs. They have to get into a specific school district. It's huge. I try to help families. I listen to what their situation is. If they're newly married and they're looking to have a family, it's already on my mind of where they need to be.
Right.
And I want to help. I'm not here to sell. I'm here to help in any way that I possibly can. And I know it's their future.
Sure.
It's not just a home or an object. It's their life that I'm helping them with.
Is there any like hot area of the United States right now? I know we're asking you, okay, where's that hidden gem? Where's the next Charlotte? Where's the next Atlanta?
I was hearing like Nashville and Austin.
I'm hearing Austin, but I'm also hearing Mississippi. I looked at Mississippi the other day, and the average median price of a home in Mississippi was $235,000. So it's very affordable. People can come in from other states, go in, buy, rent them out, even if they're not moving in there immediately, making an income property. So a lot of people are doing.
And are we talking like big plots of land? Because my mother is a Nebraska farm girl, and she always lamented coming out to Southern California because the house she grew up in, the big giant front porch, and rocking chairs on the porch, and a big expanse of grass in front and the back was gone. Are these decent sized plots we're talking?
Everyone wants a lot of land. They want room to build. They want to either have a pool, a backyard kitchen, but most importantly an ADU,
I was gonna say, ADU.
A guest house. It's multi-generational use now.
Yeah.
Younger people can't afford to live on their own. So all of a sudden you're seeing children, parents, and grandparents all in the same house. People are creating compounds in their backyards.
I was just going to say,
yeah, you can build up to 4 units on certain properties.
Wow.
Yeah, we've got a 23-year-old or 280-something-month-old at our house right now, and I'm just going to go to Costco and get him like a Tough Shed and go put it out in the North 40 and say, here's your light bulb on an extension cord. Welcome to your new house. Amber Martinez, realtor, First Team Real Estate. To get in contact with her, ambermartinez.firstteam.com. What is it like? Is it bad? Do people sell during the holidays?
Yes.
They do?
Yes. I have sold a house right before Christmas.
Okay,
you would think that they don't.
I have always been told or heard no one is going to buy your house during the holidays. They're worried about this. They're worried about that. They're traveling, et cetera, et cetera.
People are always buying. They're always buying. It just depends on how many are buying. And guess what? It only takes one offer whenever you're selling. So if I only see one person come through and one offer, I'm fine with that. It doesn't matter. And I focus on that one offer and making sure it goes through.
30 seconds or less, what do you think the fall is going to be like generally for the real estate markets in the United States?
I think that people are going to start selling. It's in the seller's best interest right now.
Yeah.
The people are out there. They need somewhere to go. And they've got money to spend. A lot of people do. We also got some of the people that are apprehensive due to inflation.
I'm telling you, folks, if you're watching her, you're listening to her, and you want the answers to all of your questions, Amber Martinez, ambermartinez.firstteam.com. Doesn't matter where you are. If you've been thinking about Mississippi, she's the one to call. All right, keep it right here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show right after this. guys are all having a good day. As always, appreciate you being along for the ride. They are every show. That's the Day Trader Trio. Of course, we are back here at the bar. Costa, Mary Bird Godwin, and Sully.
Well, 80 million TV homes strong. Of course, we've got American Forces Radio Network also in 175 countries and all the ships at sea. And we're brought to you by Prudential. Let Prudential be your rock for retirement. Also brought to you by Bayer Advanced, better science, better results. Starbucks coffee. We're all hopped up on some right now.
The best.
Of course, Bloomin' Brands in their fine family restaurants. Let's not forget Taylor Guitars. Look who's in studio. So excited.
This is awesome. We found out she actually has legs today because she's always been
we've
on
only
with us
seen her
via Zoom. Exactly.
There's a talking head.
It's always a plus. Jennifer Ernst, co-founder, CEO of Tivic Health. Ticker symbol is TIVC. It's so great to have you here in person.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Absolutely.
So now that we have you cornered.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about, from the start again, how Tivic started. Because one thing that I've always said, and we've never talked about, but talking about you off air, is that you're basically marshaling the immune system, right?
Exactly. So our starting point was using electrical signals to marshal the immune system, as you called it. We're basically harnessing the signals that cause chemical expressions. We had a product in market. We've moved a consumer healthcare product that we've actually moved out of the company at this point. But as part of expanding the company and looking for growth opportunities, we added a whole biopharma component to the company. So I now have a combination of biopharma, bioelectronic. This blend is pretty unique in the market in terms of being able to marshal the immune system through both chemical and electrical signals.
How does that work? I'm like picturing little things you put on your body and get shocked, you know? Like,
electrodes?
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is we've proven with both our commercial product and with what is in advanced stages of research right now, that you don't need a lot of stimulation. You just need very, very low levels of current. And in fact, the products we've designed, the things that we've used in our trials, are so low level that sometimes people can't even feel the stimulation. Yeah. So we can use.
And you wear it on the spots where you need the stimulation.
On the spots are actually what we're targeting right now is a VNS. It's called a vagus nerve stimulation, and it'll be up on the neck area. That area, with the design we have, regulates the immune system functions through the vagus nerve, and so you don't have to actually go just to the target zone. It's not like a TENS device. It's a very precise targeting and signaling effect. Working with one of the leading institutions in New York, Northwell Health, the Institute for Bioelectronic Medicine. And then the complement to that one is going to be a few years from market. So earlier this year, I in-licensed the pharmaceutical, a recombinant protein. It's basically a protein-based molecule that we can use to activate the immune system. So the bioelectronic works really well to when the immune system goes hyperactive, the bioelectronic really works to calm it down. And when the immune system needs to get basically jacked up again, and that's often the case with cancer, radiation damage, chemotherapy. The Entolimod drug that we licensed in has the ability and the properties to boost the immune system.
This is the reason this is attractive and also interesting because we have such a big military audience here as well as across the country, and you don't think about, you hate to think about having the need for stuff like this, but it really is. Pretty significant for our military.
You know, we've all seen the videos of them testing the atomic bombs, and people out there, and they're like, oh, I'll just put this white stuff on my face, and that'll help me from the radiation that's going to come flying across on the desert. As far I know there's a military application here, and we have talked with you in the past about you eventually at Tivic wanting it to get to the point where you can take it beforehand, before you hit you're exposed to radiation. Is there an application for a civilian population? Let's see. I mean, we're an hour away from San Onofre, and there's people who live next to 3 Mile Island, or that type of thing.
There is. So that's one of the drivers in the increase in the market is the increasing use of nuclear power around the globe. So stockpile this and as a business person, I love the fact that it is a stockpile drug.
Sure.
Because it's one of the few products I hope nobody ever has to use.
Right.
I'll say that for the acute radiation syndrome, when we talk about the cancer treatment, I hope it becomes the standard of care. But in the growth in nuclear power, the growth in global conflict, the situations and the increasing use of dirty bombs and the types of things that our troops are facing.
Right.
This has really been, there's been work done with some of the leading scientists in the field of radiation treatment, and have come back and said, this is the drug we want in our arsenal. This is the one we want out there.
Amazing.
The interesting part is if you look at the arc of the story when Jared and team put up online there of the beg your pardon, the FDA going through this. You're down the road quite a bit with discovery, proof of concept, phase 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
On the ARS. Talk about the lymphocyte. You're right walking into phase 2 and maybe some top line.
Right. Actually, two indications we see in the cancer treatment and oncology area. I'll start actually with neutropenia because that's probably the bigger market right now.
Right.
The drugs that I mentioned that were approved, if you think of brand names like Neupogen, Neulasta, people will be familiar with those. Again, they only treat the bone marrow part of the problem. They don't treat the wasting. They don't treat the fact that you can't process your food when the GI tract is damaged. So with that backdrop, neutropenia, we've seen profound increases in neutrophil production and in platelet counts. So that gives us a real opportunity to take a segment of the market that right now is already a $7 billion market. God. And then we look. Lymphocyte exhaustion has more to do with when we start the abundance of T cell, NK cell, these type of immunotherapies for cancer that have been progressed. They don't work as well as they could because the population is clinically has been exposed to chemotherapy. They've been exposed to radiation. So if we can jack the immune system back up again, get it more responsive, then that arms the body for those therapies to be more productive. So that's down the road a little bit. Our next focus will be, we've got the ARS well underway, as you said, the acute radiation syndrome well underway. Discussions with BARDA, with DOD, starting the processes with the FDA. We just got all the formal paperwork transferred, so we're starting all of that work. And it is, basically because it's approved under animal rules, it's like right on that cusp. We're into manufacturing and doing the manufacturing validation.
So which talks about commercialization. Now, a model in the past for many biopharma companies was a risk aversion model, was to have a bigger company come in, like Pfizer, and take you guys to market. This is a little different than handsome young men and women pulling around their little mini suitcases into doctors' offices and talking about it. This is a little bit different sort of commercialization, isn't it? This is not the standard commercialization since you're going for the DoD market, correct? What does that look like? Do you do that from within, or do you partner to do that?
Right now, we're actually building relationships. We have consultants that introduce us. We have people that know that field really well, and of course, the fact that they funded the development of it to the tune of $190 million gave us an open door to the White House, and to as soon as we licensed it, within a couple months, we were able to get meetings at the White House to do briefings. So that isn't, as you said, it's not your traditional. When I look at neutropenia, there's reasons why people go with that licensing model, because those are sales forces of 800 to 3,000 people that are already armed. So being able to take a product in, we could very well be ready for a neutropenia type licensing agreement with just a little bit more clinical data on it.
How do you guys keep, when you have literally 3 therapies that are right there, you got one that's almost a commercialization, but you're at phase 2 on the lymphocyte, I believe, or
on the neutropenia.
So how do you quarterback all that at the same time? You got 3 significant things going on at one time. Are you busy?
With a real, not to mention we have a program on still going on the bioelectronic work. Yes, with a great team. I was fortunate when we did this in licensing to bring in a chief operating officer, president of the biopharma that has launched 17 drugs.
Right.
Wow. He has been through the ringer with, I won't say every possible way you could fail, but a lot of them. So he was a great add to the team, and then we brought in part of the team that had worked with him as well. Yeah. So it's a shared job, I would say.
If you had to, or you're to look at your chairman and CEO, or I should say co-founder and CEO of a publicly traded company, you can only tell us so much. But what does the next 6 months to 18 months look like for you? And so much that you can divulge what we already know. What are you working on?
Pretty much it's heads down on getting the progress made on the ARS, the manufacturing, getting the first GMP batch manufactured, because that's an inflection point. Once we have the GMP batch, then there's a set of testing we do, but we're basically on the path to the BLA. We're on the path to the FDA approval process. So it's heads down on that right now. There is a possibility for being able to we're looking at some sites for neutropenia, so we may, in the next 6 months, maybe we'll have some opportunities coming up there that we'll be talking more about.
We need to have you in at least once a month because it makes us feel better.
She's one of those whole show clients.
Well,
guests, excuse me.
This is one of these things where I feel better now. It's, Saturday outbreak blows up. I knows a guy.
Exactly. By there.
I'm sitting there the whole time thinking, what is a pitch like to the White House or Department of Defense, and who are you in front of talking to? Is it Kennedy? Is it the Joint Chiefs? Is it? I mean, that's amazing stuff. Not everyone does that.
No, and then
you can't talk about it. I get it, but I'm impressed.
Jennifer, thanks so much. You'll see much more of her.
Jennifer Ernst, co-founder, CEO, Tivic Health. TIVC is the ticker symbol.
Thank you.
Keep it right here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show after this. It is the Big Biz Show. We come to you from Southern California inside the Loft 100 studios. Hope you're having a great day. They are the Day Trader Trio. Love those guys. And back here at the bar as the show rolls on, it is Costa and it is Sully.
We are brought to you by Prudential. Let Prudential be your rock for retirement. Also brought to you by Bayer Advance. Better science, better results. We're all hopped up on Starbucks coffee over here. Also Bloomin' Brands, their fine family of restaurants and Mike's favorite. Outback Steakhouse with their authentic Australian food.
Can't beat it.
They have Bloomin' Onions. They come in little kangaroo pouches. They fit on the desk there. Just pick one out and
They grow. The fact that they grow deep fried blows me away.
On the side of the road.
Yeah, on the side.
On the hills.
Yes.
You hear the heather on the hills in Scotland?
Yeah.
It's not that.
No.
It's the Bloomin' Onions on the hills. Is there hills in
Sure,
in Australasia?
absolutely. They got mountains and stuff like that.
Do you remember Dumb and Dumber? when
Where are you going? I'm on my way to Austria.
Well, put another shrimp on the barbie. Such the greatest line. I can't skip it when I talk about it.
And he thinks he nails it as he says it too.
Yeah.
And
like the Samsonite suitcase. Nailed it. Her name's right on the bag. I think we need to have. I'm sorry.
Chortles? That movie is so stupidly good. It's awesome. Go ahead.
We need to have a movie night here in the Loft 100 Studios. Invite the audience in and have a Dumb and Dumber night.
Yep.
Also,
without a doubt.
Mike and Dave need wedding dates. Need that one.
That'll work.
Need Airplane.
Yeah.
And of course, Caddyshack.
Of course.
Last one.
Of course.
We'll have I saw Alon Goren playing guitar as
Get out of here.
A punker on the interweb.
I didn't know he's musically inclined.
I didn't know.
I'm not shocked, but
I could see him in a circle pit.
Oh yeah.
Right in front of the stage. Alon, what are you doing, buddy? How are you? Good to see you. I didn't know you were a musician.
Neither did I. I was trying to come up with an airplane joke. I was going to say, surely you can't be serious or something, but then I.
Yes, you can. Stop calling me serious.
That one kills.
Yes. Did you see the new?
So good.
Did you see the new airplane with Liam Neeson?
That's the Naked Gun.
Yeah, Naked Gun. I'm sorry.
No,
Was it any good? I can't. I don't want to see Liam Neeson crouch himself onto that.
Desecrate the name of Leslie Nielsen.
And Liam Neeson.
Yeah,
Liam Nelson.
That guy too.
Yeah. Hey, Alon Goren, of course, founding partner of Draper Goren Blockchain. I've heard something. I was thinking about you the other day.
Yeah.
We talk about short interest and abusive short selling and what's been going on in the small cap markets, which is really anything under $10 a share these days. You see this algorithmic trading, and you see this spoofing, and you see these multiple decimal point trades. And one company we talked to had a brilliant idea, which I thought was really interesting. And when you pay a dividend out to a shareholder, every person who has a share or borrows a share is due that exact same dividend. Now, that dividend could be another share, it could be $1, it could be a Dogecoin, it could be a Bitcoin, it could be Ethereum. This one company paid out $100 worth of Ethereum to every single shareholder as a dividend. And what happened to the short guys, the shorts are trying to cover, they couldn't cover because they had to buy Ethereum to also cover. They had to cover the share and the dividend at the same time. It was a brilliant strategy. I think this is a strategy where many public companies could kill the shorts because simply it was too much of a hassle to cover the short. They had to buy the shares back and they had to buy Ethereum to cover the short. Have you heard of this before? Because it's brilliant. If not, let's start a business.
Let's do it. So I get pitched all the time for these new style of companies. So you've seen companies like Mara Holdings or Master is the big one that are called DATs. They're called Digital Asset Treasury Companies. So these are public companies who are basically their main business is holding digital assets, and the big ones obviously are just holding Bitcoin and Ethereum now. And it's not exactly what you're talking about, but there's this whole new trend because certain groups, let's use as an example, California, the CalPERS, or one of those big groups that are holding all of our retirement funds in California, can't buy Bitcoin directly, even through an ETF, because it's probably against the rules, but they can hold shares in a public company, and they happen to hold a lot of shares in that. The public doesn't really know or talk about it much, because if they went out there and said Bitcoin on TV, a lot of people would not be happy. But there's a lot of these things going on, and what you're talking about is an example of kind of a lot of things that the crypto community has had to do because they didn't fall under certain regulatory environments. We're used to being scrappy and weird and coming up with ways to get around.
But this is a good thing that this helps the shareholders, because look at
100%.
Look at, you can't sell your home before you own it, and you can't sell your car before you own it, but you can sell stock before you own it. It's called short selling, and you do it, and it's allowed because it allows parity in the market. It's a very obscure economic theory, but it really does work if there's not cheaters. The problem is there's so many cheaters out there. They're actually, and here's the example I give. If you're a trader on Wall Street, you could do probably 5 trades a minute. You know, if you're actually trading, it's not electronic trading, it's actual trading. If you have to execute a short, you have to stop what you're doing, go out on the wire, borrow the shares from another broker, put them in, market. You're losing money, you're losing commissions. That's part of the problem. Is that you say you want to short a stock. Instead of me borrow the shares, I'll just go sell the stock, and then it's called a failure to deliver. It's called a naked short, which is basically a counterfeit share. I think things like this, the law of unintended consequences with blockchain and with digital, I think could work it. Talk about AI. This is the year, as you said, that AI meets blockchain. We're just finally understanding that blockchain is basically an infrastructure, just like the banking system or the Federal Reserve's an infrastructure. Blockchain's an infrastructure in which we can do transparent business without the need for middlemen, I guess would be the simplest way to put it. Yeah. Where does AI come in?
Well, I think that in the way that we talk about our phones being smartphones, we used to talk about securities on the blockchain as smart securities, right? And the reason I'm saying that is because there is, this idea of as things get digitized, right? As investors, if we invest in something and then that company sells or receives money, there's a waterfall of who gets the distribution here, who gets the distribution there. And so all those things can be digital now and can be programmed in. And in the same way that you're talking about those shorts and those situations, there are now sort of bots that exist out there that will make sure that pricing parity exists across exchanges. And those bots will do minuscule transactions to regulate the price and will keep things not just fair, but they'll make money along the way, where humans can't really make money along the way in those arbitrage situations because it's too minuscule. But bots can exist that do that. And you can imagine with AI, those kind of things become smarter and smarter and smarter. And all of us have access to those products that are getting smarter. And you don't need the infrastructure of a bank and institution to do those kind of things anymore, right? Like you mentioned, they start losing money because instead of doing those 5 trades a minute, they have to call one group to bring to another. They're kind of printing shares that don't even exist in real life. Sure. With AI, these things can happen so fast and can increase your margin so easily that everyone will get access to better products.
And the good news is, while this is all happening, blockchain can prevent the fraud. Right? Because of the transparency. Good stuff. Thanks.
Alon Goren, founding partner of Draper, Goren Blockchain. Always great to have him on the show. As far as the show is concerned, it is over for today. We tried to go on, but we can't. But we'll see you next time on The Big Biz Show. Have a good one.